And tonight, once again, I'll be your mistress of ceremonies. And this is a very special night, as of course each of the nights are, when we induct these wonderful people into our Hall of Fame. I brought a front page of the inside page of the newspaper because I thought if you didn't see it, there was a wonderful article talking about our inductees and that they leave such a wonderful trail for the young people to follow. And that these same people walked the halls, ate in the cafeteria, did all of the things that our young people today do. And the sky's the limit. And these gentlemen, there are all gentlemen this evening, are proof of that. It is a very special night for me because two of the gentlemen were former students of mine, and that makes me feel very proud. For 3 whole days, I had Walt Willey in my drama class. And after bribing with a $50 bill the other drama teacher, we switched, and he went somewhere else, and I got another would-be thespian. Just to show you I know talent, don't I? Yes. But I had an even bigger pleasure when I had Hulse as a homeroom student for 4 years. 4 long years. Imagine my surprise when looking at the New York Times and seeing his name. Pearl, I still have some of your English papers. And spell check is definitely right up your alley. You keep going, boy. You're going to get there, absolutely. But indeed, it does make me feel very proud to have known these people when they were here at Ottawa High School. Now, with that said, I would like to start this evening with our foundation president, Mr. Jim Carlson, who will say a few words about the Ottawa High School Foundation. Jim?
Thank you, Mary, and hello, everyone. I too would like to welcome you to tonight's special event. It's my privilege to be with you here today. As Mary said, my name is Jim Carlson, and I'm the Education Foundation President here at Ottawa Township High School. And as such, I would like to speak with you just for about 45 minutes. I hope you're not too hungry. About the work of the foundation and its relationship to the Hall of Fame. The Ottawa Township High School District 140 Educational Foundation was established in 1993 to secure and channel private funds to support and promote the educational programs and activities of its students. It is a 501c3 non-profit private foundation and is an entity independent, separate, and apart from the school. Through the fortunate and generous donations of those supporting the foundation, we have been able to provide grant funding to purchase new equipment, promote innovative teaching initiatives, and augment scholastic resources beyond the fiscal constraints of the school's normal operation. The foundation has provided in excess of $150,000 in grants to date. Our hope is that with additional contributions, we will be able to make an ever-increasing impact on OTHS and the students of the district. The courtyard project was developed by the foundation as a funding mechanism through the sale of bricks, benches, statues, lights, and general contributions. Is an aesthetic and cultural enhancement to the high school property, providing exposure to the arts. And while the courtyard has value in and of itself, it is primarily a focal point and funding mechanism to facilitate the more expansive objectives of the foundation. One might ask why a public entity such as Ottawa High School would be needful of this assistance. The fact is that Illinois ranks relatively low among the states in direct funding for its schools. Yet the majority of the more than 2 million students that currently attend Illinois public schools will stay to live and work in Illinois throughout their adult lives. The economic vitality, future growth and development, and quality of life that we all share and will be impacted by this demographic reality. We believe that assisting in the pursuit of educational excellence not only enriches the lives of the students most directly impacted, but also communities and collective future as well. The Hall of Fame was established by the foundation to inspire and acknowledge excellence and achievement, be it academic, athletic, in the fine arts, or other distinguished achievement. In highlighting the accomplishments of inductees, we believe that current students will be inspired by the standard of excellence and accomplishment achieved by their predecessors, and we will better foster a culture of excellence and achievement. We are very pleased that this, tonight, our 2011 group of inductees continues to establish a high standard of accomplishment for those to follow. We congratulate you all on your induction and accomplishments, and thank you for the examples that you have set. We are proud of what you have meant to Ottawa Township High School and look forward to your induction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. I have an abject apology to make. I said that all of our inductees tonight were gentlemen. There is one wonderful, wonderful woman who's sitting right over there, Mrs. Dorothy Love, who also will be inducted. Dorothy, I could never forget you. I am terribly sorry for that oversight. It was certainly not intended. One of my favorite people, and I'm so happy that she's being inducted tonight. At this time, the Regional Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Rich Myers, will give the invocation.
Good evening. Please bow your heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity you have given us this evening to honor the recipients of these outstanding awards. We are grateful for the talents and gifts you have bestowed upon these individuals and for their desire and determination to use these gifts in such a positive way. We give thanks for their family members and for the educators who help to influence their lives with encouragement and guidance. We are grateful for the food we are about to receive and for the chance to celebrate this evening together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think just about everybody is finished with their dinner and perhaps enjoying cake and coffee. I hope so. And I certainly want to thank the Appleway ladies for their Pat Appleby for a wonderful meal. Thank you, Pat. Amazing. We love it. Good old food. At this time, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing to you our state champion, music department jazz band. No, that isn't what it is. There's so many. They're tuning up though. I got that. The OHS Band Ensemble. Ladies and gentlemen, these people have been state champions representing Ottawa High School for at least, Roger and Sarah, help me, 15 straight years, correct? Amazing. The OHS Brass Quintet will entertain you tonight. It will be under the direction of Miss Sarah Reckmeyer, and they'll perform Lassus Trombone by Henry Fillmore, arranged by James McLeod. Performing this evening are band members Katie Hayes, Larry Sheridan, Ruth Parker, Jake Holland, and Colton Kozlowski. Ladies and gentlemen, the state champion Ottawa High School Brass Quintet. and that is Miss Sarah Breckmeyer, our music director.
When you hear the rooters yelling rock, 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 when you hear the chorus singing Ottawa, forth from our heroes facing their foes. When you see the team go crashing on, rushing on to victory, raise your voices loud and glad and claim for Ottawa. Crimson and white we're marching onward, courageous strength be unto you. To Ottawa may we ever be true in the life we may pursue. Each boy and girl ever loyal, each loyal heart beating true. In meeting, defeating each task before us, we cheer so high for you. Soon for us our high school days will all be born, to thy standard faithful ever as of yore. We'll still remember your precepts true. When you see your sons and daughters striving on, rising on to great renown, then you know that we've been ever loyal. Marching onward, courage and strength be up to you. To Ottawa may we ever be true in the life we may pursue. Each boy and girl ever loyal, each loyal heart beating true. In meeting, defeating each task before us, we cheer so high for you. OTT, hey, 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 WA, Ottawa. Ottawa, Ottawa.
Thank you so much. Now we are over here. You can take a bounce. There is right direction. Inductees. Come from many areas of our country, come from down the street, come from the south, the east, the west. They represent the fields of science, math, they're coaches, teachers, musicians, actors, writers, an amazing group of individuals. And a lady accompanies them who is, I would call, the queen of Ottawa High School, who has been the mother to many of our sports young men and women. So it's with great pleasure at this time that I introduce to you our superintendent, Matt Winchester, who will begin the induction ceremony. Matt?
Thank you, Mary, for being such a great MC this evening. As always, if we could please give her a big round of applause. Good evening to Hall of Fame honorees, family members, and friends. I would like to take a moment and thank all of the decade and nominating committee members, and individuals for their hard work during the selection process, organization, and decorating necessary to present tonight's ceremony. I would like to personally thank Don Harris and Susan MacDonald as they put in a great amount of time into organizing and preparing for this event, and I'd also like to thank those that assisted with the setup for tonight's dinner. A thank you also to our band and choir students for performing, and directors Sarah Reckmeyer and Roger Am, our videographer Nick Schwartz, who is taping this evening's ceremony, and senior Kyle DeVault, who designed and created the PowerPoint presentation that you saw on the monitors throughout the cafeteria this evening. The PowerPoint presentation is on our website and will be linked to our website if anyone would like to go there to grab a copy. Another thank you goes to Pat Appleby and her staff for an excellent dinner. And a final thank you goes to the Ottawa Township High School Educational Foundation under the direction of Jim Carlson, Foundation President. The dinner and induction ceremonies would not be possible without the OTHS Educational Foundation and their support. During this 133rd year of Ottawa Township High School, we are gathered this evening for the 5th annual induction into the OTHS Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame provides a unique opportunity to honor our graduates, faculty, and contributors for their outstanding accomplishments. OTHS has a long and proud tradition of excellence and accomplishment. Tonight I am honored to have the opportunity to recognize a very special group of 9 individuals at this evening's induction ceremony. We are here to celebrate a variety of accomplishments and excellence and achievement demonstrated by the individuals you see on the stage. Each inductee was selected by way of a 3-tiered selection process, and all are very worthy of the honor. The inductees are here tonight because of their achievements and accomplishments in many different areas, as Mary mentioned earlier. Education, community service, acting, scouting, music, writing, publishing, editing, entrepreneurship, teaching, athletics, coaching, and volunteer work, to name a few. They have all affected the lives of many with their accomplishments. The diversity of their achievements is noted in your program. This same text is found on the induction plaques, which will be added to our Hall of Fame wall on the 400 floor, which is near the area where we serve tonight's dinner. You may have seen those as you walk by. The central plaque on the 400 floor wall describes the Hall of Fame, and each year we make it a point to read a specific passage from that plaque. In bold is the statement, "From ordinary beginnings, many through determination, commitment, effort, and high expectations have accomplished the extraordinary." What a great description of what all of the inductees here tonight have done to deserve this recognition. I would like to personally thank all of the inductees for their contributions to OTHS. You make us all proud to be Ottawa Township Pirates. Tonight's ceremony is about each of you, so it's time for one of my favorite parts of the program, and that's hearing from all of you. I would like to take a moment to introduce each inductee, present them with their award, and ask that they say a few words. So without further ado, our first inductee this evening is John Hoff, who is a class of 1907 graduate, and I will be reading Mr. Hoff's plaque this evening as his representative. John Hoff graduated from Ottawa High School in 1907 before beginning his teaching career in Seneca, Illinois. He then joined the staff of Ottawa Township High School 1 year later, where he embarked on a long and illustrious career until his death in December 1955. John Hoff taught mathematics during his tenure and was noted for his chalk-marked blue suit. He also spent endless hours working with various music groups as the director of music, endeavoring to impart his love and appreciation of music to Ottawa's youth. He was known for his vigorous enthusiasm, leading the student body in the singing of the school song Pep, for which he wrote the music. Pep was first published in 1914. John L. Hoff. Our second inductee this evening is Norlyn L. Bud Allison from the class of 1944.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be with you this evening and to have been selected to this high honor. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the greatest I've ever had. In getting ready for tonight, you begin to think, well, gosh, why did they select you, and all the other things that go with this kind of opportunity. John Hoff used to get on my case because he was my orchestra teacher when I played a little violin in the second row as second violinist, and I have to apologize to him because I really never learned how to tune the violin. But he knew that, and fortunately I had some folks in the back row that were real helpful to me over the years. And of course I also played in the band, and all you folks remember the band director at that time, and he kind of got on my case a time or two about the fact I played the saxophone in the band, and then played a bugle and a bugle corps. And of course, as you know, you use two different kinds of muscles for those types of equipment and things. Some of the folks that are already in the Hall of Fame, Charlie Alconis, Gil Love, they were all folks that were of my era, so to speak, and we in turn had an opportunity to get to know them, and the folks that we had during those periods of time were really great leaders as far as I was concerned. And Charlie Alconis, if you recall, teaching biology, my first contact with him was when I was in the 8th grade. I was working on the bird study merit badge, and if some of you folks know about the bird study merit badge, you had to know 50 birds and be able to identify them. The first day I walked into his office to have him be my coach and counselor, he pulled out about 12 or 13 different sparrows and said, "Here they are, and tell me what they are." I call them sparrows. He said, "Come back when you have an opportunity to learn what they are and the difference between them." And 2 years later, of course, I was in this biology class. I do thank you all for the opportunity to be representative of your Hall of Fame. And thank you so very much to everyone who had an opportunity to vote for me.
Thank you very much, Norman. Our third inductee this evening is Dan Battles, OTHS class of 1965, and he's being represented by his nephew, Jeff Newberry.
Thanks, everybody. I would like to, first of all, thank the foundation for allowing me to accept on behalf of my uncle. I know he's very proud of the fact that he's able to be admitted. He did send me a speech to read, so I'll do that, and it won't be as long as that. Dan says, well, we better start with this first. Yeah, it is with deep regret that I will be unable to attend the Ottawa High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony for 2011. Unfortunately, my wife Tracy and I had already made travel plans out of the country during that stretch of time in February. When I got the phone call from Dan Iles and Susan McDonald, I was surprised, delighted, and greatly humbled for even being considered for this award, let alone receiving it. I always thought of the time I spent playing high school sports as mainly just having fun, almost like how golf now feels to me. The real work of life for me, like most people, came in my adult years as I carved out a career teaching special ed students in the inner city of Albany, New York. As I reflect, however, I realize it was the self-discipline and root hog or die, never give up mentality I learned playing OHS sports that carried me through the times during a career of inner city coaching and teaching. I was very fortunate to have played for wonderful coaches, two of whom, Ralph Nelson and Jim Sutherland, are being justifiably honored here tonight, and wonderful teammates at Ottawa High, usually in front of the watchful eyes of Dorothy Love, also being honored tonight. We all learned every day that any personal success we enjoyed was only part of a greater team success. This is an extremely important concept for anyone to learn if he or she is going to have the proper attitude for success in other walks of life. And as a side note, Dan and I had a conversation, and he sent me a little note, and he wanted to be based on his article in the paper. He talked a lot about coaches Novak and Riley, who he dealt with the most, but he also wanted to let Mr. Nelson know that he felt that their successes were due to a lot of your effort. He said that he brought intelligence and enthusiasm to the drudgingly of linemen's play, and that was contagious. He also felt you were tough but approachable and always a perfect gentleman. I was also very fortunate to have an extremely supportive and loving family. We loved each other, and with being the youngest after Judy, Sherry, and Jerry, it was easy to just step into that love very naturally and apply it to the teams I played with and later to the classes I taught. It has also deeply influenced the way we raised three wonderful kids, Haven, Ben, and Casey. I greatly appreciate tonight's award, and my wife Tracy and I will treasure it always. And I am grateful to Bill Newberry, may he rest in peace, who nominated me, and for those who lobbied on my behalf, as well as the election committee themselves. Thank you all, and root hog or die.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next inductee is Carl Hulse, OTHS class of 1972.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. I'm sure anybody here who knew me in high school is as surprised I'm standing here as I am, actually. As Fennessy, my homeroom teacher, was commenting earlier, I wasn't exactly the easiest student to deal with. But it turns out my experience here did prepare me for my job as a reporter, because I really became good at coming up with stories. Like why I didn't really need to go to that class, or why I would turn in that assignment a little bit later. But this is really a special honor, and I'm very proud of it. I wish my parents were here. We're both graduates of Ottawa. I think my dad especially would be extremely proud. This would be bigger than the Pulitzer. Thank you. I got a great education at Ottawa. I really did. Had excellent teachers. I drove some of them crazy, obviously. But, and even the English teachers that I had here, Miss Reinhardt, I don't know if people remember her, Mr. Clark. Mr. Heron was a big influence on me. And he had a creative writing class that that's where I got an interest in some of the stories that I did do. So so for the foundation to honor me like this, I really appreciate it. I also want to thank my sister, Sally, who nominated me for this and pursued it. And I will note that my three older siblings, two of them are here tonight, went to Marquette. So I was the first one to break that chain, and obviously it worked out pretty well for me. So thank you so much. I will always treasure this, and it's really funny to think of me hanging on the wall down there. all the times that I was trying to get out of this building. So, thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Dorothy Love, who is with her sons Chuck and John.
Good evening. This is a prestigious award, and I know Mother is so honored. I've been nominated, I think, by my brothers and my sister to do the speaking. So they are all here, and we're just so appreciative that Mom can join Dad and John in this, but I don't know what happened to the rest of the family. Anyway, I get to talk since I'm not there. But I do want to say there is nothing in this world that is more important to my mother than Ottawa High School. She says everyone is always so nice to her. And I do want you to know, though, that when she sees you, she may recognize you, she may remember you, but she can't think of your names. So just bear with her. I know all of us are going through those senior moments, but Mom's values Ottawa High School so much. It's a place where you are prepared and where you can move forward and you're prepared to succeed. She's always been such a great supporter to athletics, yes, but whatever goes on here, and to my father. Dan Isles compiled something that, I don't know if it's accurate, Dan, but I'll take it for your word. Anyway, I just want to read this little excerpt that he had. In the 134-year history of Ottawa Township High School, no one has been a bigger supporter of Ottawa High than Dorothy Love. It's estimated that Dorothy has attended in the neighborhood of 2,500 events here at Ottawa, from sports to concerts to school plays. That includes around 1,300 varsity boys basketball games. Wow, we would have a big family, wouldn't we? Mary introduced her as the queen. Well, as her children, I'm not sure we ever thought of her as that, but we will have a different reverence for Mom since Mary mentioned that. We want you to know that for us, her family, we want to say thank you. Thank you for recognizing Mother. And when you get older, you start to lose your face and voice, but this is really significant for that face and that voice to return. And so we want to thank the committee and for those of you who have always supported her. And I know that she would want to end this by saying, I love you all.
I thank everyone that I have been associated with at Ottawa High School in music and in sports and in everything. I've enjoyed everything, and they've been awfully good to me to see that I have a good place to sit and a good thing to do. I've seen a lot of good boys and girls go through Ottawa High School and go on to college and made a good life for themselves, and I appreciate every bit of it. Thank you all.
Oh, in case you didn't know, everybody who's wondering, she is going to be 98.
Thank you, Joan. Speaking on behalf of your mother. Our next inductee is Doug McKendrick, OTHS class of 1962.
I am truly honored to be standing here tonight. And my family, my dad came with the Asheville Road Test in 1956. We were here 6 years. And I still think of Ottawa as just the greatest town I've ever been in. It's been awesome being part of this. I was on the basketball team, and we had a great run with that. And I'll never forget all the guys that are on the team, and a lot of them are here today. And I'm really, really proud to have them come and see me. And it's just been an awesome thing. And everything I do in Atlanta, Georgia, and other places, I always think of Ottawa, and I always think of how we grew as people here and what Ottawa did for us. I mean, it's really emotional for me. And I came here as a guy that couldn't even bounce a basketball. And Don Yups grabbed me and still didn't teach me how to bounce a basketball, and then we came into the freshman year with Jim Harris, and I think we were 19-0, and I can't remember exactly what our sophomore record was, and just had a great time with Dean Riley and Jim Sutherland as the sophomore, and then Gil Love. And I always remember of all the coaches that I've ever played for, I think this coaching staff was better, more socially involved, more into us, and helped us more than any place I've ever been. And I'm just really proud of them. And then we had played tennis, and Casey Clark was my tennis partner for most of the time, and we've had a lot of fun with that. And Tom Henderson was a great coach, even though he needs to learn how to drive. But scared to death going 90 miles an hour everywhere. But we just had a great time. And on behalf of my mom and dad, who I think would be extremely honored by this, I spent part of today out at the Asheville Road Test. There wasn't much left of those roads out there, but I found them out there, and we certainly enjoyed our 6 years here. And on behalf of my wife and my son who are here today, I thank you, and this is really a special honor for me, and I really appreciate everything that this community gave me in growing up and having a chance to move on. And I think it's done that to just thousands and thousands of kids in the town. And I'm really, really proud to be part of Ottawa, and at least we get to come back every 5 years, and our reunion is going to be next year, and so I think we'll all be there. And we took a picture of, I don't know what you want to call it, my group in there, which is about 20 people, and thank you for being here for me. And geez, I could just name off a whole bunch of them, but probably the final thing I want to say is somehow or other, I don't know if it's proper or not, but I want to dedicate this to Wes Herman, John Sapp, Dick Dodd, who served in Vietnam. 2 of them died there. One of them came back and had Agent Orange. But I'm telling you, these were real Americans, and I think about them all the time. Wes was one of my best friends, along with Dan Dodd. And Blake Hennessy was one of the funniest guys I've ever met. I'm glad he's doing well in his life, because I was concerned about him. But it's just been a fabulous time here, and I want to thank you all for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Our next inductee is Ralph Nelson, OTHS class of 1953. Accompanying their father are Scott, Steve, and Joellen.
I feel extremely fortunate that I had the opportunity to attend and graduate from Ottawa High School. My wife graduated from Ottawa High School. My 3 children, Joellen, Steve, and Scott. So that was a very, very important part of my life. And then returning to teach here and coach and administration. Very important part of my life is my family. And I have all 10 grandchildren here tonight. They all had hectic schedules. Some of them were in college. Some of them had business out. My granddaughter had business out in New York, but they all made it here for this award that I'm receiving. So I'm going to introduce them. My son-in-law, Andy Gresh, his wife, Joellen. Go ahead and stand. My daughter-in-law, Susan, and her husband, Scott, and my daughter-in-law, Julie, and her husband, Steve, and the children that belong to Joellen are Andy, Sam, and Jenna. The children that belong to Steve are Mac, Luke, and Jake. Children that belong to Scott are Amanda, if I see Amanda, and Peter, and Elizabeth, and Sarah. I hope I've introduced my wife. Also, my two sisters, Cheryl, and her husband, Les. Stand up, Les. And their daughter, Kathy. And my other sister, Janice Vandervoort. Thank you. There was a little confusion in the paper. Somehow they got me graduating in 1952, and I actually graduated in 1953, and it wasn't much of a problem because what happens when you're playing football and reporting football, it's done in the fall, and so it's 52. But I didn't graduate until spring 53. Well, I have still some friends around here that went to school with me. And they keep saying, well, how did you get out in 52? You didn't get out in 52. And I'm glad I didn't get out in 52 because the class of 1953 was the Diamond Jubilee. That was the 75th year of the school. It was also the year that we had our centennial in Ottawa. And what a fun time we had. The one thing that happened was that we had in 1953 we had an undefeated football team. We had a tremendous basketball team. I think they lost maybe 3 games. We had a fantastic track team with a runner that went to Michigan. His name was Roger Severson. He got injured in the district just before the state, or he would have won the 100 and the 200. We had a great summer baseball team. Our tennis wasn't quite as strong, but we didn't have Tom Henderson and Lyle Gunther here yet coaching. Our tennis got much stronger after those two came here. I just want to thank the committee that all the effort they put in. It's not just the process of selecting people, but putting on this banquet and all the activities they go on. And I want to thank them. And I'm going to turn this over now to Steve, I guess.
I just want to start by saying if I don't do well in this speech, it's Mrs. Morgan's fault. She was my speech teacher. As the youngest member of this family, no one ever tells me anything, so I don't know if my dad is being inducted into the Hall of Fame for his athletic ability or the service that he gave to the Ottawa High School as an administrator. They used to call my dad Tuffy Nelson. I don't know if it was because he was tough or if it was because his life was so tough. He likes to say it was because he was tough. An example of his life being tough is that his dad died when he was in 6th grade. And he had to be the father figure for his 3 sisters and brothers. My dad attended Ottawa High School from 1949 to 1953. He was the class president of the Diamond Jubilee class. He was the captain of the football team his junior and senior year. He also played in an All-American football game, which was an all-star game that comprised of kids from each state in the nation. He then earned a 4-year football scholarship to the University of Illinois. He worked at Ottawa High School for 30 years. He taught biology as well as other subjects. He was a counselor, assistant principal, and principal. He spent his summers commuting to the University of Illinois, continuing his education that included a master's and a specialist degree in education. He ended his college career 10 hours shy of a doctorate. It's nice that my dad has been inducted into the Ottawa High School Hall of Fame, but he has been a member of my Hall of Fame my whole life. And it is nice to have your own father as your hero growing up, and he still is to this day. Thank you.
Reading my Bible, I found a passage in Galatians that I believe is my Father's Spirit, and that is in Galatians 5:20, 22 and 23. It says, "The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and gentleness." It's hard to describe a football coach in those ways. But here's a man who was able to play the game, coach the game, and inspire many young people to play it the way it was supposed to be played, with all that in mind. The verses before that might have described a football coach. We won't go into those. But growing up, to have your father as a football coach is a dream come true. For me, maybe not for everyone, but Friday Night Lights, I lived. I couldn't wait for Friday nights. I couldn't wait for practice to start or double sessions to start until I actually had to go through them myself. And I started going through them when I was probably in the 5th or 6th grade, and putting on the pads and going out and working with the guys. And I remember, does anybody know what the Oklahoma drills are? Where 2 guys are going at each other and then one guy has to tackle, the defensive guy tackles the guy with the ball. Well, I was the guy with the ball. And one of the players, Mike Stone, who I think was an all-state football player, didn't want to hit me too hard. And my dad said, no, give him a shoulder. So that's how I started. But being a coach's kid was great because I got to be on the sidelines and I got to witness some wonderful things. And the one play and the one game that I remember is in 1971, and I think Don Sutherland was on that team. And Ottawa High School is 6-0, and Sterling is 6-0. And we're going to play at Sterling. And we're not supposed to win. And we're down 14-12 in the 3rd quarter, and it's probably in the middle of the 3rd quarter, right, Don? And we stop them. Ottawa Pirates stop them, and they kick a punt, and it lands on the 2-yard line. This thing good. But I see my father and Coach Slack, they're actually pretty excited. Because they studied the game films in Sterling High School so well that they knew that they were going to go into a man-to-man defense. So with a second-string quarterback who's 5'6", who can't see over the offensive line, they decide to throw a pass to Keith Clemens, 98-yard touchdown. Game changes. They end up winning the game, I think 20-14. The Ottawa Pirates are 7-0, going to play Geneseo. This is the defining moment in terms of a defensive coach. The Ottawa Pirates defeat Geneseo 20-0. Why is that important? Geneseo, I don't think had ever been shut out. Season 9-0, the 25th season for Bill Novak's season. If they don't call that play, they don't study it, that team doesn't go 9-0. That's the kind of individual my father's been. Unfortunately, he made a decision to become the principal of the high school. You know, there's only one good thing about having your dad being the principal of high school, and that is his parking space. Thank you, because my kids know how important that is. But he did come back and coach me my senior year. This is a real honor for my father and a real honor for our family and my mother. Thank you.
When Dad asked me to speak tonight, I calculated how many people were here to speak and how much time we would each have, and I said 2 minutes. And I'm going to promise you 2 minutes, not the NFL 2-minute warning, where it's really 30 minutes, but 2 minutes. I actually got the pleasure tonight to speak to so many of you and heard stories about my dad that I had never heard before. All wonderful stories. I have no embarrassing stories to tell about him because there really aren't any. I actually have a story to tell you tonight that's not about Dad, but really represents him. It's a story about a friend of mine. Their daughter had a lot of trouble with their daughter, and finally she had done some horrible, horrible things. So she decided to go ahead. We live in the suburbs, and she moved downtown Chicago and left her family, and they parted ways, and the parents said, fine, that's it, we're done. And months went on, and the daughter finally said to herself, you know what? Maybe they weren't always wrong. Maybe I was wrong sometimes. But, I've done horrible, horrible things. They should never forgive me. A little time went on, and finally she said, I'd really like to see my family again, but I can't confront them because they don't want to see me. So she said to herself, I'm going to write them a letter, and I'm going to say in that letter, I hope you can forgive me. I know I've done reprehensible things, but if you can forgive me, I'm going to come out on the train, the suburban train, on Sunday afternoon, and if you want to see me, even if you can't forgive me, if you just want to see me for a minute, tie one yellow ribbon around a tree. I'll look out, I'll see that, I'll get off the train. If there's no yellow ribbon around the tree, I will say, okay, not yet, not now, maybe someday. I'll get back on the train and go back downtown Chicago. So the girl is riding out on the train, and she starts to talk to an older gentleman sitting on the train next to her and says, tells the story and everything, and she says, I just can't bear to look out there and not see a yellow ribbon. And they have every right not to put a yellow ribbon out because I've done reprehensible, unforgivable things. She said, could you look for me? And he said, sure, I can do that. So they get closer and closer to Glen Ellen, and he looks out and he says, I don't see one yellow ribbon around the tree. I see thousands. And that's my feeling of my father and my mother, that not that there aren't expectations, there are very high expectations, and not that there wouldn't be repercussions, and you all know this, but that there would always be the possibility of redemption. And that kind of support, I can't tell you, being able to grow up in that he gave to us kids, to his community as a whole, that's the only thing I would like to impart to my children from this day forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott, Steve, and Joanne. Our next inductee is Jim Sutherland, represented by his son, Don.
That pass was thrown by Bobby Kissenfager. It was a 21 box pass. Mel Lessman from Sterling was defending on the play, just if you want all those details. I wish I'm speaking on behalf of my father. It's an honor to do that. I wish I had a tape recorder this weekend and just recorded all the nice things that have been said to me about my father, and I could just push play up here. It's really been a fun weekend. The foundation is just an amazing thing. You know, the concept of, you know, honoring people that have contributed a lot to Ottawa High School, made a huge impact here, and then also those people that learned to make impacts here and went later on in life and made their impact. It's really a great concept. I think the foundation is just a great idea, and my mom had saved the articles since the Hall of Fame started. And it's, you know, every year she would say those articles, and it was just a joy to read about, you know, people I knew and people I didn't know. And there's just a tremendous amount of history here, and just great people here at Ottawa and Ottawa High School. It's an honor to speak on my dad's behalf. So my dad came here in '52, and I tell you, if there was a town made for a person, it had to be my dad. He loved fishing, and he loved the community style, and exactly what Ottawa had, you know, and you know, his day went like this. He got here early because he had to make a stop at all these different places. He would stop with the custodians for a while in the morning. He loved all those people that helped support the school. And I have a trophy of that. I got an autographed ball signed by Bob Dean. And not Dizzy Dean, but Bob Dean. You guys that have been here a long time know who he was. He took care of the whole custodial staff. And then he would go up and see Jen Hall, who's here tonight, I think. And, you know, she would open the principal's office, so my dad could put a penny on the principal's desk. And then he made his round of the faculty. He loved the faculty here. And too many names, too many teachers to name that he loved and enjoyed teaching with. And then all the students that came into his classroom and out of his classroom, whether you were the pauper or the king, he was willing to work with you and loved having you in his class, and knew that if you were having troubled times during high school, you were going to turn out nice later. And if you're the king here in high school, you know that there was troubled times coming, and he helped you manage all those, you know, all those emotions. It was, you know, over the years, so many people have told me that. That's how I know that, you know. And of course, a big part of his life was coaching. He coached so many sports, and coaches didn't get paid, but that didn't make any difference. That was part of his day. And part of his day was to get here early and see the custodians and see the teachers and the principals and the support staff and the students. And then after school, he saw the athletes, and he worked with so many great coaches that have already been honored, you know. He was honored to be on Bill Novak's staff, as well as all the great assistants that he had, and he realized that you know, Bill Novak was a great coach because of himself, but also because of all his staff and his players. The same way with Gil Love was a fantastic coach, but also part of his staff. My dad was happy to be on those staff, and Dean Riley's staff, and Gil Love's summer baseball staff. You know, and so, you know, the school year had ended. Most teachers, particularly these days, you know, they take their summer trips and summer vacation. Well, now with my dad, it was off to the recreation department. And he would do the same thing there with the people that work for the recreation department and their staff and all the kids in the playgrounds. And I had an opportunity to speak on the radio station this morning, and my dad's favorite day of recreation was Friday, and it was for a lot of people in recreation. But that was usually because it was the end of the week and they had a couple days off. And it certainly wasn't for my dad. It was T-ball day, you know, where hundreds of kids assembled up on the north side for T-ball. Way too many kids to have anything sound, but it was just, they were excited to be there. Those little T-ball kids, and he was excited to be there to see their excitement. It was just, and I came home in the summers and worked for recreation. It was so wonderful to see that. And of course, through all this, he was fighting the disease that he had, and so he used the high school and the community to help him through those tough times. It was just neat how they used the community to get his strength back, so he could help other people and feel good about the things he was doing. And then in retirements, you know, he retired and stuff. And, you know, a lot of people will go south or someplace. Not my dad. There was things to do in Ottawa. Open the coffee shop, hang out at the bait shop, help people down at the river fish. You know, take this fish out and into another pond. His whole day was filled with a whole other group of people that he hadn't been able to see here in the building. Of course, some were old students of his, and some were community members. He just loved this town and all the things that were involved in it. The teachers, the administration, the custodial staff, the students. It was just something you couldn't leave out of. And it just became part